guys, welcome back to my YouTube video and welcome back to my channel. I'm glad to see you all guys again. Today I'm going to do my reflection for week 5. On this week we learn about effective teaching. Now, the first thing we learned in regards to today's class was what is the difference between learning and teaching. Now, my personal opinion is that learning is when the way you think or the way you behave or the way your attitude is changes due to the fact that you have acknowledged new knowledge. So in other words, there's a change in the way you think, the way you behave, in what you know. Teaching, on the other hand, is actually an action in which you give people knowledge either through direct transfer, so chalk and talk, or guidance, which is more of an inquiry-based learning type of teaching. Personally, I've never had any problems identifying these two. Learning is pretty straightforward, but I think there should be more looked into teaching. Reason being is because, especially in the Malaysian climate, sometimes teaching is not exactly teaching. It's more of the teacher speaking and you listening and you reciting whatever the teacher has told you, which that's, to me personally, I don't think that's a really great way to learn. Then let's look at some characteristics of an effective teacher. Right, nobody wants a teacher that is negative or that will say things that will hurt you. A lot of the time, being a very positive teacher, you can actually bring that positiveness within the student, and then the student will become more motivated to learn. Another characteristic is a teacher that is practical. So sometimes I realize that teacher may come to the point where they are being very impractical. What I mean by that, the teacher, they themselves do not adhere to a particular time or do not adhere to a particular topic or do not adhere to a particular promise in regards to academics. And so that impracticality actually causes a lot of students to lag behind. For example, I have had teachers that even though they could replace the class, they basically refused to and instead only taught us for less than an hour, expected us to gain a lot of knowledge even though our classes were supposed to be 3 hours. I felt like it was very impractical just because they felt like it was easier for them. It actually robbed us as students of our opportunities to gain extra knowledge and also ask questions of the lecturers, because that lecturer just left within like a few minutes and it showed that the lecturer didn't care. So a lot of us also felt like we didn't care. The next characteristic is a teacher that is very social. Now, this totally makes sense. As a teacher, we have more than one role. We have multiple roles. We are teachers, we are judges, we are moms, we are dads, we are brothers, we are sisters. There's so many roles we play, and it would be extremely difficult as a teacher for us not to be social and be expected to actually be able to play those roles well. We need to build a repertoire with the students so that they can trust us and we can trust them, and that will create for a learning environment that is comfortable and safe for them, thus leading to students who want to learn. Following that, another characteristics that a teacher should have or an effective teacher should have is to have a sense of humor. Now, the reason why a teacher should have a sense of humor here is because of the fact that a lot of the time you need to be kind of funny or you kind of have to interact in a way where it's funny so that the student may be interested. Not only that, a lot of times when you're in class, a lot of accidents may happen or a lot of problems may happen, and sometimes it's good for the teacher to use humor to de-escalate the situation, because a lot of the time we get upset or even the students get upset over something really small. If a teacher can kind of, in a very polite manner, make a joke out of it, the student will then see that the issue is actually very small, it's not a big deal, and then the lessons can continue. The next characteristic is flexibility. Teachers have to be flexible, not physically, but flexible in the way they change certain things or flexible in a way that they can deal with situations. A lot of the time, teachers have to deal with on-spot situations and make on-spot decisions, and a lot of the time, if the teacher is not flexible, they probably would not be able to do it. Next is fair. I'm talking about being fair in terms of judgment. Now, a lot of the times a teacher will have to make judgments in class. Teachers must be just in everything they do. It's not just one thing. They have to be just if students have an argument. Teachers will have to see both points and then decide from there. It must be fair according to what is right and what is wrong. Not only that, a teacher should be fair when it comes to planning. Sometimes you might have students that are lagging behind. When a teacher notices that students are lagging behind, a teacher should actually come up with extra effort to help these students, because you want every student to have the same type of knowledge or have the same type of abilities, especially in regards to learning. The next characteristic is high expectations. Now, if a teacher does not have high expectations of their students, how can the students have high expectations of themselves? A teacher must have high expectations of the students and also themselves, so that there may be an aim that they can reach. It's like the ideology of reaching for the stars. So you aim to reach for the stars, but if you don't reach the star, you at least hit the clouds. If the opposite is true and the teacher have low expectation, then it will actually result in the students themselves having low expectations and being completely unmotivated to study and also to learn. The next point has to do with the previous point, which is to be goal oriented. So a teacher has to be goal oriented. They have to know exactly what they are aiming at or what they are aiming for the students. If you don't have an aim for the students, or you won't have an aim for what you're teaching or yourself, you will eventually get lost, because at the end of the day, you don't know where you're going. The students will get lost, they will get demotivated, and they will stop wanting to learn. And lastly, and most importantly, and even as a teacher, sometimes I feel like it's very difficult, would be for a teacher to be extremely committed to the students. What I mean by this is, a lot of the times teacher will probably go through a lot of problems with your supervisors, your students, everything. We are humans, right? But at the end of the day, teachers must stay committed to their student, committed in the relationship, committed in teaching, committed in guiding, and committed in helping these students with their particular problems, especially in terms of academics, but it also can relate to their personal problem if you're a friend of your students. That will help motivate them, and that will help the students feel, hey, you know what, I have someone on my side, I'm not alone. And they will want to learn and they want to explore, because they know they are not doing this alone. First, a teacher should be able to create a comfortable and safe learning environment where students are active participants, especially in regards to being working collaboratively. This is important. If the environment is not safe, or if the students is not taught to learn in a collaborative manner, the students will A, feel threatened, and also B, they will feel like, I shouldn't share my knowledge with anyone. A teacher should always motivate and nurture their students' willingness to learn. So a lot of the time, students, they're young. A lot of the time they need help. A teacher should be a friend and help them in motivating and encouraging them to want to learn. Next, a teacher should always accept the cultural differences within the student, okay? Not only accept it, but make it a point in class that students should accept each other's cultural differences, and in fact, share them with one another. Next, teachers must help students accept responsibilities of their own actions. As a teacher, because we are not just teaching the academic schedule, we are also teaching them how to be civilized human beings. We should encourage the students to take responsibility when they've done something wrong. Teachers should display effective and efficient classroom management technique. Now, this is extremely important. Why? Well, simply said that, first of all, you want to make the classroom as safe and as structured as possible, so that the student knows what is going on around them and they don't feel threatened. Not only that, a lot of times as teachers, we have to make on-the-spot decisions, right? And when it comes to on-the-spot decisions, it will help a lot if we already have a structured time of management plan and also skills that we have prepared before. A lot of the times, teacher will have to decide on-the-spot decisions. It is important for a teacher to continually develop their skills in classroom management, so that every decision made will be better from the previous. Next, it comes to technology. Teachers have to try as best as possible within the budget and the budget of the school to provide access to technology, or at least provide materials and information resources that the student can search up themselves outside of school. Next, a teacher must keep in mind to allocate enough time for them to learn and have meaningful experiences. Then, a teacher should design lessons where it allows for empowerment within a student, or even ownership of their own work. This is important because when students have ownership of their own work, they feel proud and they want to do more for it to be the best it can be. And lastly, again related to environment, a teacher has to create an environment where whatever the student does is appreciated and wanted. When the student feels like what they have done is not appreciated and wanted, they will probably feel, why should I even bother going about doing this? It doesn't make sense, so why should I even try? Therefore, as teachers, we have to try to create that environment for them. It is important to note that at the end of the day, effective teaching is not for teachers. It is actually for students. Anyway, before I conclude, let me tell you of a story of a teacher that I think is completely ineffective. The story about this teacher is basically, it was my first day. I come in and I meet the teacher, and within like 10-15 minutes, this person is immediately saying, "Oh, drop my class please, I don't want you here." So immediately I felt like I was quite upset, but I thought, okay, maybe she was really bad at jokes. Sense of humor, but not at the right place. But as the weeks continued on, I became more and more frustrated with this teacher. Because every class there will be some type of threat. For example, oh, you're gonna lose your marks. Oh, you didn't do this, well, you won't have any marks. I don't know whether she's joking or not, but a lot of the times I feel extremely threatened or upset by her, and I feel that that is not really an effective way to teach. I don't feel like any teacher should treat their students that way. And ladies and gentlemen, that's not how you want to do it at all. Be good and effective teachers, teachers that love your student and care for your students. And that's the end for my story. So for today, I have additional links this week, and as usual, I will show you right now. Hey guys, just wanted to show you the 3 links for this week's video. Now the first link is by Todd & Co, and it's on 10 ways to keep your class interesting. In my video, I mentioned a lot about being an effective teacher. Having your class be interesting is one of the ways that you can effectively teach in class. Now it has many things such as incorporate mysteries into your lesson or don't repeat classroom material. I think this is a guideline that a lot of teachers should try to look into so that they can make their classroom more interesting and have their students interested in learning and studying. Now the second link is 20 classroom management strategies and techniques. As mentioned earlier in this video, especially about on-the-spot decisions, management strategies and techniques in the classroom are extremely important. This is actually a full list, well, not everything, but it's a very good list in which it shows universal classroom management strategies such as modeling ideal behavior and allowing students to help establish guidelines. It's really good reading material for teachers who want to learn to improve their management strategies. Now, the last one is 50 ways to empower students in a connected world, and this is by Teacher Todd, and I think this article is amazing. Reason being is because first of all, it empowers students, and second of all, it empowers students in a connected, aka the technology age world. So if you look at this list, there are many things such as practice positive reinforcement. Well guys, that's it for all the links today. I hope that all these links help you in your future endeavor. Okay guys, thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!